This is gonna be a very hard topic to break down. Partly because I freaking love that thing. In fact, I'm willing to say that the Steam Deck is one of the best devices that you can get in order to game on the go. We seem to have an intruder that's desperate for attention. Yeah, can you hear? Okay, now that Kitty got her 10 minutes of fame, let's continue. The thing with the Steam Deck is that it's a really, really good device. It really emancipates gaming, PC gaming to be more specific, to a whole new level, and that's saying a lot. I just couldn't come to terms with certain sacrifices that always put me off when it came to it. Some of them you probably heard from every YouTuber out there, while other things I think are very specific to me and they might be universal reasons that might bother everyone else. It's just that a lot of people never thought about them. First of all, that thing is gigantic. When you first hold the Steam Deck, the first thing that comes to your mind is this really a handheld? Because if you hold something like this, that's not really a handheld anymore. It's not portable. You can hold it in your hands, but it's not necessarily portable anymore. Portable is something like this. This beautiful little thing is the Mio Mini Plus. And look how beautiful it sits in my hand. I can clasp it, I can grab it, I can play around with it, I can use it as a fidget spinner. Not that I would recommend this, but still. This is portable. The Steam Deck was not. You can't fit it in your pocket. You can't fit it in your jacket pocket. Maybe you can if you tried, but it's really not comfortable. And hell, it occupies as much space in the backpack as almost a laptop would, because the case is bulky as all hell. And yeah, granted, credit where credit is due, they did fix this with the Steam Deck OLED. And I truly think that the main target audience for the Steam Deck is older people, older gamers. I'm talking about people that were born in the 90s or 80s or maybe even the early 2000s. People that are too busy to sit 8 hours in front of the PC just to get the sweet, sweet dopamine from their hobby. The Steam Deck is basically created for 5 to 10 to, let's say, half an hour interval sessions. You take it, you do your gaming, and you quickly suspend it. You put it in instant standby, instant hibernation, so you can jump back in the game that you were in pretty much instantly. I loved this about it, but again, it wasn't portable. And I'm old, man. I'm really old. I'm 34. I'm this close to being married with entropy, like this. And that 7-inch screen didn't do me any favors. I had to squint on it. After a couple of hours, I would be super tired. I would see myself trying to hyper focus my eyes so I don't have blurry vision. It was just very, very tiring. And you may ask, hey Vlad, but I don't need to carry it with a case. It won't be as bulky. I can just throw it in a backpack. The thing is big. It will be okay. It's plastic. And I would agree with you, but there's no Hall effect thumbsticks on that thing. So if you just throw it in a backpack and your thumbsticks end up sitting like this, then you will most definitely have stick drift. And you will then have to open it, do a manual upgrade to the sticks. And it's just so much hassle. This just added to my Steam Deck anxiety of sorts up until the level where it took a lot of pleasure that I had from using the damn thing. I can say that I had battery anxiety though. A lot of people on YouTube say that the main reason why they gave up the Steam Deck is because of the battery. Oh, the battery doesn't last too long, blah blah blah. But they were playing the latest titles out there that were released just a year or two ago. The Steam Deck isn't really made for that. It's more or less made for oldish games, for games from the 2010s. Hell, if you're a dinosaur like me from games from the 2000s, playing Jazz Jackrabbit on it, Blood Omen 2, Legacy of Kain Defiance, that stuff is perfect on the Steam Deck. And they all work, by the way. They're unverified, but they all work, trust me on this. But the thing that I couldn't come to gripes with is that it required an active internet connection. Thing is, when you travel, you don't really have internet wherever you go. And if you want to turn it back on from a cold boot, it requires Wi-Fi. It requires internet. And this kind of, in my opinion, defeats the purpose of it. Yeah, you can play it on a plane, you can play it on a train, you can play it on a bus, and you can play it on a whatever. But you have to pre-plan beforehand. You have to focus your brain. You can't be spontaneous with it. You can't do it as a spur of the moment thing. You have to pre-plan. I have to take the damn thing. I have to activate a hotspot. I have to make sure that the credentials of the hotspot are registered in the Steam Deck, because fun fact, otherwise, if you cold boot it in the middle of nowhere, it will search for your home Wi-Fi or the last Wi-Fi that it was connected to, and it won't find it, so it won't boot, and you don't have the option to change it, which, if you ask me, it's one hell of a design flaw. So I guess, even though I loved the device, I never thought I would see PC games so mobile and so console-like. It was perfect, and honestly, it angers me that it was so perfect and yet so flawed, because I never figured how to properly enjoy it, because it had implied jankiness in the background. You had to pre-plan things. You had to use it in a very specific way. If you were to just not think about it and try to use it by default, sometimes you would hit a lot of hurdles. Although, to be fair, I'm not bashing on it. I think a lot of things could work with it. What personally worked for me after I experienced the Steam Deck is that I discovered that I can pretty much emulate everything about the Steam Deck in all of my devices with game streaming, local game streaming. I actually made a video about this. I'm gonna link it. I can see my viewfinder. I'm gonna link it here somewhere, and be sure to check that out. I get to have the Steam Deck UI, better compatibility with games, zero battery anxiety, and what was most importantly for me, bigger screens. Hell, look at this. 8.8-inch tablet. I can just slap a telescopic controller on this, and I have a quote-unquote bigger Steam Deck on the go with a bigger battery, and I don't have to worry about it. And if somehow I get even more tired, I can do the same with my very old 10-inch tablet, which was a Galaxy Tab A from 2020, and they all work flawlessly. I love the Steam Deck for what it is, but they should have pioneered being able to play offline, truly offline, and for God's sake, they could have tried to put just a tiny bigger screen in it. And yeah, I know they did that in the OLED. The screen on the Steam Deck OLED is a bit bigger, but I'm talking at least 8 inches. The eyes are old, and this flash sack is degrading. Entropy is doing its thing. I don't have the sharpness to squint at things. And I doubt Gabe didn't look at that screen and think to himself, God, I'm so freaking old. I'm convinced that's how the OLED got a bit of a bigger screen. Anyway, this is all from me. Thanks for being here in my rant. I hope I see you again next time. Subscribe if you haven't. This channel is super new. I would really appreciate it. And see you next time.